Good morning. Hurricane aftermath, how communities across the nation are responding to damage from Hurricane Ida, and what President Joe Biden says is the cause of the intense storms.
Plus, new vaccine requirements, the new COVID-19 vaccine mandates the federal government is putting into place, and how lawmakers across the nation are responding.
And a hot weekend on the way. Our weather team will break down what temperatures you can expect. Get the coffee ready and open up those eyes because you're waking up with Cardinal weather.
From Ball State Unified Media, you're waking up with Cardinal weather. Live from the Ball State Weather Center.
Good Friday morning to you, and you're waking up with Cardinal weather. I'm Anna Chalker.
And I'm Grace Minkowski. Today is September 10th. Thanks for joining us. It's our first show of the year. We are so excited.
Oh yeah, we were talking about it all morning, and we have a lot of stories to get to, and let's start with Hurricane Ida. Today is the peak of hurricane season, and several hurricanes have already made landfall in the United States. President Biden visited Hurricane Ida's northeast flood zone Tuesday. Arlette Sands explains why Biden is now calling for a response to climate change.
Tell us this is code red.
President Biden issuing a warning on climate change today as he saw firsthand the damage wrought by Hurricane Ida.
Climate change poses an existential threat to our lives, to our economy, and the threat is here. It's not going to get any better. The question, can it get worse? We can stop it from getting worse. It's incredible.
It was the second time in 4 days that the president toured the devastation left in Ida's wake, on the ground in Louisiana on Friday, and today in New Jersey and New York, meeting face to face with families impacted by the storm.
Our plan was to go in and save her belongings, but unfortunately, probably around 2:30, 3 o'clock Thursday, the house was on fire.
Thank God you didn't come back.
Yeah.
The president pledging federal support will continue for the long haul as the region recovers from flash flooding and tornadoes that damaged homes and killed at least 50 people.
We're going to make sure the relief is equitable so that those hardest hit get what they need. And we know there's a lot more to do. That's why we're here.
Thank you for coming out.
He also used the visit to make the case for his economic agenda, arguing investments in infrastructure and combating climate change are vital for recovery.
I think we're at one of those inflection points where we either act or we're going to be in real trouble. Our kids are going to be in real trouble.
The White House says 1 in 3 Americans live in counties impacted by severe weather in recent months, and officials argue action is needed across the board.
We do as much as we can at the local level, but I'm sure that not only the United States, but the rest of the world is responsible for fixing this problem.
The White House asked Congress to approve billions of dollars in funding for natural disasters, including $10 billion to respond to Hurricane Ida and $14 billion for other natural disasters like wildfires and storms.
Tropical storm Mindy made landfall over St. Vincent Island in Florida on Wednesday. That's according to the National Hurricane Center. Wind gusts of up to 55 miles per hour were recorded. The storm moved over northern Florida and southern Georgia yesterday. The storm has also been downgraded to a tropical depression.
7 people are dead after they were sent to a shelter in a warehouse during Hurricane Ida. All 7 were residents of a Louisiana nursing home. Some of the video may be hard to view. CNN has confirmed that all of the nursing homes were owned by the same man. He also owns the warehouse where residents were sent to. Nearly 850 elderly patients were taken to the warehouse. A nurse told CNN that residents were told they were being evacuated to sister facilities outside of the town. Reports of the warehouse conditions described it as being full of bugs. Evacuees say there was no water or bathrooms available.
I'm furious right now. Somebody needs to be held accountable, and the state needs to do something to control this during the hurricane. The hurricanes are not new to us.
Louisiana's health department has revoked the licenses of the nursing homes that sent residents to the warehouse. Several affected family members have filed a class action lawsuit. They say the nursing homes intentionally misrepresented the evacuation plan.
California residents who evacuated because of the Caldor fire are now returning to their homes. This video is from South Lake Tahoe. California Fire has downgraded the threat level in some areas of the county, but they say the Caldor fire is still threatening more than 24,000 structures. The fire has burned more than 270,000 acres. At last check, it was 53% contained, and the Caldor fire is just one of 12 wildfires burning in California. The summer of 2021 was the hottest on record in the United States. That's according to new data from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Association. More than 18% of the U.S. had record warm temperatures this summer. The average temperature for the U.S. was a whole 2.6 degrees above the 20th century average. That comes after NOAA announced in July was the hottest month on record for the entire planet.
A dolphin trapped by Hurricane Ida has been returned to sea. Check out Operation Free Flipper. This young bottlenose dolphin was spotted in a canal in Louisiana. Officials believe the dolphin was pushed inland and became trapped during Hurricane Ida. Both federal and local officials partnered with animal rescue organizations to save the dolphin. They removed it from the canal using nets. After a medical examination, mammal experts said the dolphin was healthy and it was released on the coast of Mississippi. I'm so glad that dolphin was saved, and it's so cute. I love dolphins.
I do too. They were my favorite animal when I was little.
Yes,
it was always dolphins or whales. I went between the two.
Yeah, and I'm just glad that they get to go home. That's all that matters.
Exactly. And you know, speaking of weather, Ryan, I'm hoping we don't have any of those on our waterways up here in Muncie. Can you tell me that?
No, we don't have any dolphins up here, but we do have some warmer weather that is coming up here next week. Right now, it doesn't feel much like that because we was practically in the 40s this morning, but right now we kind of warmed up a little bit. As you see, 53 degrees right now in Muncie, 51 degrees in Kokomo, 57 degrees right now at this time in Indianapolis. Now you look at this radar right now, we don't have anything going on right now. It's pretty much clear. We're going to be in for a wonderful day out there, so go and enjoy that day out there. But as you look ahead, like I said, those abundance of sunshine will be with us. We also go see that heat return. You're going to see that in my full forecast coming up. And of course, are we going to see any rain? Is there any rain coming up? We'll have all those details coming up.
All right, thank you, Ryan. And just ahead, what a new study has to say about breakthrough cases of COVID-19.
That's after your weather now.
Welcome back. The time is now 8:08 and you're taking a look at the Foundational Science Building.
It looks pretty clear out there this morning.
It does.
It looks great.
And
it feels great.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this weekend. I feel like we're going to have nice temperatures and it's going to be pretty nice outside.
Yeah.
Exactly. So getting into the news for today, the Biden administration announced a new plan Thursday to act against COVID-19.
Now the president is drawing criticism from Republican lawmakers. Chris Wen breaks down what steps the administration is planning to take.
My message to unvaccinated Americans is this: what more is there to wait for? What more do you need to see?
President Biden unleashing new efforts his administration is taking to battle the coronavirus pandemic, which are vaccinating the unvaccinated, further protecting the vaccinated through booster shots, keeping schools open, increasing testing and requiring masks, protecting the economic recovery, and improving care for those with COVID-19. President Biden has signed 2 executive orders requiring all federal employees and contractors to be fully vaccinated.
If you want to work with the federal government and do business with us, get vaccinated.
We are very confident that pulling this lever of vaccination requirements across 100 million workers will have a big impact.
By order of the Biden administration, the Labor Department will now require all private businesses with 100 or more employees to ensure their workers are either vaccinated or tested once a week. The president's plan already receiving pushback. GOP Governor of Arizona Doug Ducey tweeting, "This is exactly the kind of big government overreach we have tried so hard to prevent in Arizona." Now the Biden-Harris administration is hammering down on private businesses and individual freedoms in an unprecedented and dangerous way. This will never stand up in court. In Washington, I'm Chris Wynn.
Chief Medical Advisor Dr. Anthony Fauci described the president's plan as moderate. He said by providing many people with the option to be tested instead of mandating a vaccine, the president had reached a compromise. The CDC predicts COVID-19 hospitalizations will remain stable or uncertain over the next 4 weeks. That's according to the most recent CDC hospitalization forecast. This is the third week in a row the CDC has predicted a stable hospitalization rate. The agency projects the number of U.S. COVID deaths will reach up to 700,000 by the start of October. Right now, the death toll is more than 650,000.
The chief of the World Health Organization called for a temporary stop to the distribution of COVID-19 booster shots. He said rich countries should not widely offer booster shots to their population through the end of 2021. Instead, he asked nations to make extra doses available for poorer countries that do not have the resources to vaccinate their own population. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said the U.S. has donated, quote, more than other countries combined, and that the president has a responsibility to, quote, do everything we can to protect the people in the United States.
A new study found that adults may be more vulnerable to breakthrough COVID cases. According to the CDC, unvaccinated adults are 17 times more likely to be hospitalized than vaccinated adults, but severe breakthrough cases can still happen. Researchers say those who suffer severe symptoms are 73 years old on average. They also tend to have multiple conditions like diabetes or heart disease. Health officials say the best way to stay healthy is to get vaccinated.
Also need to have perspective and realize that the people who are hospitalized, the people who are suffering severe outcomes are the unvaccinated.
For more information on how to get vaccinated, visit ourshot.in.gov.
The FDA did not make a decision Thursday on whether to allow the e-cigarette brand Juul to stay on the market. The Food and Drug Administration has already rejected applications for more than 946,000 vaping products. But the agency wants more time to decide if Juul will be able to continue selling their products. Last year, e-cigarette manufacturers were given until September 9th to submit applications to remain on the market. The FDA says it is committed to completing the review as quickly as possible.
As Americans continue to roll up their sleeves for the COVID-19 vaccine, top U.S. health officials say now is the time to get the flu shot. Mandy Gaither explains why they say this year's flu shot is more important than ever.
As COVID-19 cases continue to climb, many hospitals are busting at the seams.
We are having to prepare ourselves for having yet again another surge after the Labor Day holiday, and by the way, after kids going to school.
Another reason to be concerned about the flu. Each year, influenza causes millions to be sick, hundreds of thousands to be hospitalized, and tens of thousands of deaths. But in 2020, the U.S. saw an extremely low number of flu cases.
Last year, I think we had 1 case total at our hospital.
Dr. Eric Adkins with Ohio State Wexner Medical Center says the low number of cases was likely due to public health measures like mask wearing and physical distancing. But this year, many are unmasking. Adkins says getting a flu shot is one of the best ways to protect yourself.
Don't let having 1 year of low influenza cases make you feel comfortable without getting the vaccine.
And the time to think about getting a flu shot is now. The CDC recommends getting the influenza vaccine by the end of October. The agency says people can be vaccinated from both flu and COVID-19 at the same time because you can also catch both viruses.
They're going to be more likely to require hospitalization and may even need an ICU level of care, potentially with a ventilator.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Time is 8:14 and it was a pretty chilly morning to start out. This is the first day for the whole year that I had to put the heat on in my car.
Right? I had to wear a jacket this morning.
Yeah, I wasn't ready.
No, not at all.
Hope What's happening?
It was so cold this morning. I agree with you guys. I had my heat on in my car walking in. I had my jacket on. But even across the country this morning, it was a chillier start. But as we go throughout the day, it will warm up gradually. And even in the over to our west, it is going to warm up 63 degrees in Kansas City this morning, us sitting at 53 degrees here in Muncie. But Las Vegas already this morning at 83 degrees, but as we warm up throughout the day, they will be reaching the triple digits over in Las Vegas at 102 degrees as their high. Denver at 95 degrees. That's all due in part to the jet stream bringing up all of that warm, moist air from the Gulf of Mexico. And as we look at that radar, we do have a couple of high pressure systems bringing us fair conditions. So we have a high pressure off in Arizona and New Mexico, and then one over sitting in Kentucky. We do have a few rain showers over to our west, but most of the continental U.S. are experiencing fair conditions across the day today. And as we look at our watches and warnings graphics now, it's quiet across most of the United States, but again, those wildfires are bringing poor air quality conditions and those fire warnings over there. And as we look at our next 6 to 10 days given by the Climate Prediction Center, we can see we will be experiencing those above average temperatures. Us here in Indiana, we do have a high chance of seeing those high or above average temperatures, especially down to our south, but up to our northeast, we do see them experiencing below average temperatures for that time of year. But tracking hurricanes, Hurricane Larry is off to our, off to in the Atlantic, and it is tracking up to Newfoundland, so it will be reaching them. Right now it is a hurricane or a Category 1 hurricane, but over to the eastern Pacific, we see Hurricane Olaf over in New Mexico that will be tracking out into the eastern Pacific. So thankfully, they will not be experiencing that. But going across the next 5 days, we can see they have a 40 to 60% chance of seeing some development over in the eastern Pacific Ocean. But then on the opposite side, over in the Atlantic, they do have a high risk of seeing the development of hurricanes. So luckily for us, we're not going to be experiencing any precipitation, no hurricanes, thankfully for us, but we will be experiencing those upper 90s, so not excited to see those. Once again, I was liking those 70-degree weather.
Yeah, it is pretty great. It's crazy that so many hurricanes are happening right now. I just feel like all we've been seeing is hurricane after hurricane.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we'll be able to ask you some questions in just a moment after the break, and we will be back with Hope, and she's going to talk to us about hurricanes, how they form, and why today is such an important day for hurricane season.
And that's after your message from Mitz.
Riding the bus is an easy thing to do. Last year, we carried 60,000 riders from the Ball State area. 50,000 of those were students. Anywhere you want to go, Mitz will take you there.
Welcome back. The current time is now 8:18, and you're taking a live look at the Foundational Science Building, and it is a pretty clear morning. No rain, thankfully, and today is an important day in hurricane season, and Hope is back with us to explain why. Hope, what is September 10th, and why is it so significant to hurricanes?
September 10th is the peak day of hurricane season. So statistically, today is a day where we would see the highest chance of seeing development over either in the Atlantic Ocean or even in the Pacific Ocean. So today is the day, and we do, of course, have Hurricane Larry over to our Atlantic, and then over in our Pacific Ocean, we do have Hurricane Olaf, and then, of course, that chance for development going into next week.
And Hope, how do these hurricanes start?
So it's all about the warm ocean temperatures. So, we just hit summer, we're going into fall here shortly. We all hope for that. But all that warm moisture from the ocean, that all that warm moisture lifts into the air, so clouds start to form, and so that's what gets our hurricanes to start forming. And during this time of year, the shear, which is the atmospheric changes in wind speed, that is at its minimum. And so if we had that at its maximum, we would see the shear top, or taking the top of the clouds off, so it wouldn't be able to develop. So having, minimum shear and those warm ocean or temperatures, it allows the hurricanes to build up.
All right, so why are they so common this time of year compared to like any other time?
Yeah, so going back again, what I just mentioned about the shear and the warm ocean currents, we have, or not currents, temperatures, we see those ocean temperatures reaching over 80 degrees and that shear at its minimum, so it's able to build all of that up and get the clouds start to form.
And speaking of Hurricane Larry specifically, we've seen a lot of hurricanes this season, but that one was mostly over water. How are these hurricanes reaching the land?
Yeah, so it's all about the wind direction, and there is a term, meteorology term out there called the Coriolis effect. It's just basically the wind direction based off of the Earth's rotation. So it takes these storms and it pushes it so if it's pushing it, towards land, that's how it makes its landfall. Of course, not all hurricanes make landfall, but as if they do, of course, that is catastrophic for those states that it hits.
Okay, so for the U.S., what's the worst one we've seen? Is right now the worst, or?
Hurricane Ida definitely had a great effect. They do see those damages maybe even topping out at $95 billion. That would be the 7th worst or costliest hurricane since 2000. But the costliest one was back in 2005 when Hurricane Katrina hit. It had costs of over $176 billion. So definitely the costliest, but the deadliest one was back in 1900 when Hurricane Galveston hit in Galveston, Texas. And so that one just because of the lack of technology.
All right, well, Hope, thank you so much for the information.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And we're going to send it over to a little more local weather. Ryan, what's happening here in Indiana?
Well, what's happening is temperatures out there this morning. As you see right now, we are sitting at currently at 53 degrees here in Muncie, and 51 degrees in Kokomo, and 57 degrees right now in Indianapolis. At times there were some temperatures that was in the 40s this morning, so it did catch us off a little bit off guard this morning. As you take a look at this radar right now, you can see that there's nothing going on right now in terms of the cloud cover or anything activity right now. You could actually broad that out a little bit. You're gonna see that we have some spotty showers up here in Michigan. We also got some out here in the east, but nothing going on over here right now. As a matter of fact, we've been pretty dry here lately, and I'm gonna see if we're gonna see any potential showers to develop, come up in here in the next few days. But for right now, we don't have anything. Right now, the temperatures for the next 8 hours are going to be in the 50s to start out the day, but we're going to warm up gradually to the upper 70s as you go through the day. So not bad, but the heat will be coming to our area this weekend into next week, so we're going to keep that in mind. As you wake up today, you're going to see the temperatures will be 59 degrees, and again, we're going to warm up to about 78 degrees as we go through the day. So as you see, as we go through today, as I just mentioned, mostly sunny, high of 78 degrees, winds out of west-southwest at 5 miles an hour. As you take a look at tonight, you're going to see that it's going to be mostly clear, low of 58 degrees, winds will be out of the south at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Now, as you take a look at this weekend, this is where the heat begins to build as we go through the weekend. 86 degrees will be our high on Saturday, west-southwest winds at 10 to 15 miles an hour. But take a look at Sunday. We're not done with the 90-degree temperatures right now. You're going to see that it's 90. It's going to be 90 degrees as well. Well, west-southwest winds at 10 to 15 miles an hour. As you take a look at this 7-day forecast, 78 degrees. This looks pretty good right now. But as we go through the weekend into next week, we're going to see that those temperatures are going to begin to warm up quite a bit. 90 degrees both on Sunday and Monday. But as you see, we do have a shower chance on Wednesday, as a small disturbance do come into our area on Wednesday, and temperatures will moderate a little bit to the 80s. Now, we are talking about that cool weather that's coming in. We don't really see any this week, I did look out a little bit. We do see some a little bit next week. Next weekend into early next week, we might see some low 70s coming to our area. So a little bit more fall-like temperature coming in after that. So hopefully that's good news. That's a little far-fetched right now, so we don't know what's coming right now.
I like the sound of that. I love those temperatures.
So yes, Ryan, thank you. And in just a moment, we'll be getting a new look at our new friend at the Muncie Animal Care and Services.
We'll be right back after this.
From the heart of Ball State to the heart of your community, NewsLink Indiana brings you local and state news you care about. We pride ourselves with giving you the most reliable news coverage, stories that affect you, linking you to the community each night on air and online. NewsLink Indiana, bringing news to the heart of your community.
In partnership with the Muncie Animal Care and Services, every other week on Cardinal Weather, we're featuring a pet from their shelter. And this week you get to meet Sweet Lemon. Although she's only 8 years old, she's full of energy. It is no surprise that in her free time, you'll find her chewing on a bone or pushing a ball around. Lemon will do the best in a home that has older children and adults, but you can always take her on a doggy date if you're unsure.
And if you're interested in adopting Lemon or any other pet, you can head over to MAC's website at cityofmuncie.com. She's so cute.
Oh my goodness.
And I love that her name is Lemon.
I feel like that's something that's pretty creative.
She's way more energetic than I ever will be, especially 8 years old. So, and let's go over to some dogs in California.
Okay, yeah, for sure. As California firefighters and emergency crews manage wildfires across the state, one organization is trying to bring some relief.
Paws for Love is bringing dogs to fire camps across the state. The dogs visited Reno to see people who were forced to evacuate because of the Caldor fire. And on Tuesday, they traveled to a fire camp near the Dixie Fire. People working at the camp said the visit was a welcome distraction.
I've never been to a fire camp that had the dogs come before, so that was a real treat when someone said there were dogs here. I was like, where? And I came and took off running.
I can't with the dog stuff today. It just keeps coming. I'm loving all the dogs, and I'm loving that they get to help all the people with the fire.
Me too, me too. It's definitely nice to see. And I will say, after all the dog talk, I consider myself a kitten person.
I'm a dog person,
really?
For sure. Yeah, I love cats, but I love dogs, and I love when they help people, and I love when people find their best frind in a dog.
Okay.
And you know what also is my best friend? Food and Taco Bell.
Oh, heck
Let's talk about Taco Bell making a change. The fast food chain wants to recycle used sauce packets.
And here's how it's going to work. Customers collect their empty sauce packets and then they mail them back to be refilled. It's part of an initiative to protect the environment. Taco Bell says its goal is to save 8 billion pounds of sauce packets from going into landfills every year. And let's talk about saving the environment. It's a pretty good way to do it.
Yes. And with the environment and these cooler temperatures, I know 90s are coming. I'm not happy about it. Well, we can suck it up for the couple days because fall is coming.
Right. Eventually.
Yes, we'll get there one of these days.
Yes, fall is coming, but you never notice it from these temperatures that you see here. I mean, looking at 90s on Sunday and Monday, you're talking about summer. It's still here. The dog days of summer. And so they're sticking around. They're even sticking around pretty much most of this week. We do have some showers and thunderstorms on Wednesday, but if you're looking for fall, you probably want to wait a little while because fall's not coming here anytime soon. As a matter of fact, fall is basically going to stay away for a while because, the heat is building around the Midwest and it's going to stay with us for a little while.
You know what, I'm going to soak up the sun while I can because I know eventually there's going to be a day where it's going to be snowy and so cold. And we're going to be wishing for that summer sun to be back.
I love summer, but it's not one of my favorites. I'm okay with wearing 6 coats.
Yeah?
I really am. I truly am. I always feel like you can add layers. I'm okay adding a few layers every now and then.
That is true.
Yeah, and that is all for Cardinal weather this morning. Thank you for joining us this morning.
We'll see you next Friday. Have a great rest of your day and a fantastic weekend.